Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, I think I mentioned this maybe on Friday that High Stakes was going viral for their episode of The Grill last week. I think the last time I spoke to you guys about this, they were at 100,000 listens for that episode. Well, now they're at 1.5 million. They went so viral on Spotify. We don't really know what's happening, but thank you to the Spotify universe. Thank you to the Spotify gods for giving us this blessing. They're also charting everywhere. They're number 16 in Australia, they're number 19 in USA, 21 in Canada, 33 in UK. Like, it is just popping off. So, very exciting. A great way to start our Monday. All right, before I get into the stories for today, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please Spotify star rate us. We're trying to get to 1,000 Spotify star ratings on Infinite Scroll by the end of the year. All right, the first story that I have for you guys is Shay Mitchell is under fire after she launched a skincare line called Rini, which is tailored to toddlers and children. So according to the brand's website, Rini's, quote, mission is simple: to nurture healthy habits, spark confidence, and make thoughtfully crafted daily care essentials and play products accessible to every family. That sounds harmless enough, honestly. However, what people have an issue with is the products that they chose to launch with, and they feel like that is really telling with like what Shay and her partners want to do with the brand, because the brand launched with a hydrogel facial mask, an after sun facial mask, and an everyday sheet mask. Like literally sheet masks on toddlers. And they feature cute little animals like a puppy, a unicorn, a panda. So this is what Shay Mitchell wrote. I can't say Shay. Like, to me, she's Shay Mitchell. She's like a full name kind of celebrity. So this is what she wrote on Instagram. So excited and honestly so relieved that I can finally talk about Rini. This has been 3 years in the making, inspired by my girls, their curiosity, and all the little moments that made me realize how early it starts. From birthday parties and face paint to wanting to, quote, do what mommy does with her face masks, it was only a matter of time. Rini isn't about beauty, it's about self-care, about teaching our kids that taking care of themselves can be fun, gentle, and safe. Kids are naturally curious, and instead of ignoring that, we can embrace it. With safe, gentle products parents can trust, and sweet moments that bring us closer. And she also talked about how these products are made with clean ingredients, quote unquote clean. And if you guys are in the beauty space or have kept up with that at all over the last few years, you know that the rhetoric around clean beauty is absolutely a pipeline to the alt-right. So people also have a big issue with how she's positioning this. So yes, there's tons of backlash across the internet. And many dermatologists are jumping in on this as well, saying it's super toxic to be promoting skincare to children. Others are defending the line, saying it is a cute idea because, as she kind of noted in her Instagram story, kids always want to like do what they see their mommy doing. They want to do their skincare and their makeup like mommy. They want to do it at the same time as her. So now they can kind of have their own products to do their skincare with mommy. Am I surprised that Shay Mitchell launched like a toddler face mask and is touting clean ingredients and this kind of rhetoric? Like, I honestly think not really. I feel like it's really kitschy more than anything. I really feel like they sat down and they were like, okay, what industry is not disrupted? Like, what can we do that will make a huge buzz and everyone will be like, oh my God, that's a genius. Like, I really feel like the inspiration behind this was like, what can we do that's different to make something different for difference sake? But I think in general around the backlash, the messaging is the biggest issue, because I understand like parents put moisturizer on their kids. Like, there's been kids makeup that's like play makeup for decades. Like, that stuff has existed. So I feel like they could have positioned this that way. And like she kind of touched on that in her Instagram story, but the marketing around the brand and the visual representation that they're putting out into the world really does not convey that. It really feels like they're trying to put out something that's a little bit more elevated and like serious as opposed to kids play. And it feels to me almost like they're putting out a kids brand that they believe in the future could be a grown-up brand. I feel like they're not trying to put all their eggs in the kids basket. They're hoping that this can grow into an adult brand. Like they launched it with the idea of this turning into like a tween, a teen, a young adult brand eventually. So they don't want to put out like these kind of like kid like play face masks because they don't want to pigeonhole themselves. That's how I see this, at least. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this. I feel like it gives kind of desperate, which actually leads into my next story very nicely, because Ned Fulmer is addressing backlash around his controversial comeback to the internet. And this is also giving desperate. So Ned Fulmer has made a video addressing the backlash that he received after basically relaunching his career with his new podcast and his new YouTube channel. So for a recap, Ned was part of the Try Guys, which was a very popular YouTube collective who started at BuzzFeed, and then they went out on their own, and kind of like their main shtick for a while was that they made these comedic videos trying different things. So this all blew up in Ned's face in 2022 when it was revealed that he had been cheating on his wife, Ariel, who was also in a lot of his content, so the fans knew her. And he was cheating on her with a Try Guys employee. Ned was quickly fired from the Try Guys and retreated from the internet. And then he returned in September of this year with a new podcast called Rock Bottom, where he interviews people who have hit rock bottom. That was already a controversial decision. However, his first interview was with Ariel, and that became even more of a scandal because people felt like the way he spoke about what he did to her, he was very cold, he was kind of dismissive of her feelings. They did not like how he acted in this interview. People also criticized him for having Ariel as his first guest because he was kind of monetizing her pain to get views upon his return. That's how people felt. Now, shortly after launching the podcast, he announced that he is starting a new YouTube channel with this series about curiosity, where he tests new things and he's calling it Building a More Curious World. And everyone was like, okay, this is literally just the Try Guys. So now, after essentially 2 months of consistent backlash and just people not being down for his return, he has made a video addressing everybody's concerns.
Launching the podcast with a conversation with Ariel was Ariel's idea. She's a stakeholder in the Rock Bottom podcast and this new channel, and she wants it to be successful. So that was part of the reason why, in terms of having that conversation, we did it together rather than on any other platform. After Discovery, I started an intensive program of therapy, group therapy, and work to really try to understand what I had done, why I had done it, and what it meant for my relationship and my life. This involved a lot of facing rationalizations, denials, minimizations, all of these mental clouds that help you continue behavior that you know is hurtful and you still do it anyways. So it let me face the truth and acknowledge in no uncertain terms that I cheated on my wife with an employee of my business, and it caused her immense pain and shattered our marriage, and also caused a lot of pain to a lot of other people. Those were my selfish actions and my choices. So this was a long process that it took, approximately 2 years, and continues work even to this day at the 3-year mark, even though we decided to separate officially 2 years in. And if you are wondering what the show is about, I encourage you to check it out. And so that will be on the Rock Bottom channel, and on this channel it'll be more entertainment forward, still under the values of curiosity and empathy. I know people are saying that it's similar to some of the stuff I did before with BuzzFeed and Try Guys, and that's true. It's the DNA of stuff that I love making, mixing education with entertainment, and developing new show concepts that I'm really excited, but it's not going to be too drastically different than the type of work I did before, because that's just who I am and the type of stuff that I like to make.
However, he actually didn't please everyone. A lot of people feel like what he is missing from this video, this address, is that he should be apologizing and directly acknowledging the Try Guys and what he did to them very publicly, given his actions could have cost them their careers. And I mean, I'm sure it cost them a lot in general, right? Like, it would have cost them tons of money, tons of anguish. Like, they had to completely change their business. So yeah, a lot of people feel like that is something that has been noticeably missing so far. But honestly, maybe in his exit, he's like not allowed to talk about them publicly. I was actually thinking that could be the reason why he hasn't really touched on it in the in-depth way that his audience, or I don't even know if they're his audience anymore, but like people online are asking him to. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys is MrBeast is launching a theme park in Saudi Arabia called Beastland next week. So over the weekend, MrBeast tweeted this, or I guess posted on X. I will never say X. I feel like it will be Twitter and tweeting to me forever. He wrote, "Next week, Beastland, our brand new theme park, opens. We built custom games modeled after our videos that don't exist anywhere else, and will have the world's largest prize wall." He's obsessed with prizes. He said, "I don't want this to be like a typical theme park. Thought of things from first principles and created games I would love to play. Tons of original games created, plus of course we have roller coasters and rides." So general entry for a ticket will be about $7, but this actually doesn't include access to actually play the games. Higher price tickets cost about $66, which I think, I don't know, I haven't gone to a theme park in a really long time, but I feel like that's kind of in line with theme park pricing. Now, when asked why he specifically chose Saudi Arabia to launch this, he said, "It's in the middle of the world, and that a majority of my audience is outside of America, and when we have a big Middle Eastern fan base, he wanted to give them a chance to participate." And I thought this was really funny. I was getting some of this information from Gizmodo, the tech publication, and they wrote, "The world is a globe, so it's unclear what he meant by calling Saudi Arabia, quote, the middle of the world." Okay, so I actually do think a MrBeast theme park based on his videos is a good idea. I like genuinely think it's a good idea. I fear his ambiguity around like why he chose this specific region and what fans can expect is unfortunately just another example of MrBeast being obsessed with infamy and wealth. Oh, also, this is not a permanent thing. This is not a permanent thing. This is only going on for a couple of months. Also, fun fact about me, I don't know if you guys are on this side of TikTok, but I get served this content constantly now. And I don't know if it's like specifically popping off or for some reason it's like on my For You page all the time. But I am constantly getting basically like the Real Housewives of Neom talk. Like that's what I'm on. I have no idea how or why, but these past few weeks, my For You page has just been flooded with vlogs of the young wives who are raising kids on basically the construction site compounds for Neom. And if you don't know what Neom is, it's this like mega project in Saudi Arabia where they're trying to build a futuristic city. And then of course that got me looking into it. And there's tons of videos on YouTube already talking about how it's like never going to get built and people don't believe this is ever coming to fruition. And I'm going to say from the vlogs that I'm watching, it seems that that is probably also the case. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. I already have stories for tomorrow. I really had to pick and choose. And since it's Monday and I went away for the weekend, I was like, I'm going to pick stories that aren't that, high effort, but I have some really good stories for you guys tomorrow. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Please rate, review, and subscribe. I love you. And yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.